Let's get something straight. You've spent your whole life giving to others, your spouse, your children, your family. But after 60 years, the one person who will truly stay with you until the very end is not your husband, not your children, not your closest friend. It's you. This might be a hard pill to swallow, but the sooner you accept it, the more prepared you'll be for what's ahead. Stick with me until the end, because what I'm about to share could change the way you live the rest of your life. And before we go on, tell me in the comments, what's one thing you wish you had done more for yourself? Part 2. Why your spouse won't be there forever. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. But I've been with my husband for 40, even 50 years. We've been through everything together. He'll always be there. I understand that. When you spend decades with someone, you can't imagine life without them. They've been your partner, your best friend, the person you built a home with, raised children with, and maybe even grew old with. But time doesn't stop for anyone. Let's be real. Life is unpredictable. Some people grow old together and pass within months of each other. But for many, one partner will leave first, and the other is left to navigate the world alone. And let me tell you, I've seen it happen time and time again. A woman devotes her entire life to her marriage, making her husband the center of her universe. Then one day, he's gone. And what's left? A house that feels too big, days that feel too long, and a life that suddenly feels empty. I once had a dear friend, Margaret. She and her husband were inseparable. If you saw one, you saw the other. They had routines, inside jokes, and a rhythm to life that only decades of marriage can create. But when her husband passed, Margaret didn't just lose her partner, she lost herself. She never learned how to enjoy her own company. She didn't have hobbies of her own, she didn't have close friends outside of their couple's circle, and she had no idea how to fill her days without him. It broke my heart to see someone so full of love and energy shrink into loneliness because she had never built a life outside of her marriage. This is why I say, love your spouse, cherish your marriage, but don't lose yourself in it. Because one day, you might wake up and the person you've leaned on for decades won't be there anymore. And when that day comes, you don't want to be standing in an empty house wondering, who am I without them? And listen, I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it to prepare you. If you're still blessed to have your spouse by your side, start now. Start building a relationship with yourself. Make time for the things that interest you, not just the things you do together. Take that painting class, go on solo walks, read books that challenge you. Because if the day comes when you find yourself alone, you won't be lost. You'll already have a strong, independent version of yourself waiting to step forward. And even if your spouse is still here, things change. As we age, health becomes unpredictable. One of you may need care before the other. You might not be able to do the things you once did together. The dynamics shift. And if you don't have your own foundation, that shift can feel like the ground beneath you is crumbling. So let me ask you, if your spouse was suddenly gone tomorrow, what would your days look like? Would you have purpose? Would you have peace in your own company? If the answer is no, then it's time to start strengthening that relationship with yourself. Because the truth is, your spouse is a part of your journey, but they are not the entire journey. The only person who will walk every single step with you, who will experience every thought, every moment, every heartbeat, is you. And that's a relationship worth investing in. Part 3. Why your children have their own lives now. If your spouse isn't the person who will stay by your side forever, then surely your children will, right? I know many parents who believe this. They think, I raised them, I sacrificed for them. I was there for them through everything. Surely they'll be there for me when I need them most. But that's not how life works, and it's not because they don't love you. Oh, they do. They'll always love you, but they have their own lives now. They have families to raise, careers to manage, homes to take care of. Their time is stretched thin between work, their spouse, their kids, and the never-ending demands of adulthood. And if you've done your job as a parent well, then they should be independent. That was always the goal, wasn't it? To raise them to stand on their own. 2 feet? I want you to think back to when you were their age. You were busy too, weren't you? You had your own worries, your own responsibilities. Maybe you were caring for your own parents, working long hours, or trying to give your children the best life possible. Did you always have time to visit your parents as much as you wanted? Probably not. And yet somehow, when we grow older, we expect things to be different with our own children. We tell ourselves, they'll call every day. They'll visit every weekend. They won't let me be lonely. But reality often paints a different picture. I know a woman named Linda. She has 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. When they were young, she did everything for them. Cooked their meals, packed their lunches, drove them to school, stayed up late when they were sick. She loved them more than anything. And when they became adults, she was sure they'd always stay close. But then life happened. Her eldest daughter moved across the country for work. Her son got married and had kids of his own. Her youngest, who used to call every day, now barely had time between her job and raising her family. Linda told me once, "I don't blame them. I know they're busy, but I never imagined I'd feel so forgotten." And that's the painful truth many parents face. It's not that our children stop loving us. It's that their world expands and we are no longer at the center of it. Now, I'm not saying your children won't be there when it really matters. If you fall ill, they'll come. If you need help, they'll try their best. But they won't be there every day. They won't be the companion you see every morning, or the person who fills your evenings with conversation. And let me be very clear about something. This is not a reason to feel bitter. It's not a reason to guilt your children or make them feel bad. Instead, it's a reason to prepare yourself. Because if you spend your later years waiting on your children to entertain you, to give your life meaning, to fill the empty spaces of your day, you'll be disappointed. You'll feel neglected, even when they love you deeply. So what's the solution? You have to build a life that doesn't rely on them. Yes, enjoy the time you do get with them. Treasure those phone calls, those visits, those family gatherings, but don't depend on them to be your only source of happiness. Find fulfillment in your own routine. Make new friends, explore new hobbies, connect with people in your community. Because when you do, you'll never feel like you're just waiting around for your children to call. You'll already have a life that's full, even when they're not there. And believe me, your children will love you even more for it, because nothing makes them happier than knowing that their mom or dad is still living, still growing, still enjoying life. So don't sit by the phone, waiting. Live your life. Because at the end of the day, the person who will always be with you every single moment is you. Part 4. The friends who come and go now. Maybe you're thinking, all right, if my spouse may not always be there, and my children have their own lives, then surely my friends will be the ones to accompany me until the end. And yes, friendships are one of life's greatest joys. The laughter, the shared memories, the deep conversations over coffee or tea, there's nothing quite like it. Some friends feel closer than family, and when you find those lifelong bonds, they are precious. But here's the truth about friendship. It changes over time. People move, priorities shift, and life takes us in different directions. The friends you once saw every week might now only send you a message every few months. Some friendships fade naturally, not because of conflict, but because life simply pulls you apart. And then, of course, there's the hardest part of growing older, loss. As the years go by, we start to say goodbye to more and more people we love. Friends we thought we'd grow old with leave this world before us, and suddenly the circle we once had becomes smaller. I've experienced this firsthand. I had a friend, Barbara, who was my closest companion for over 30 years. We did everything together, traveled, went to the theater, shared Sunday brunch. I used to think we'll be 2 little old ladies sitting on a park bench feeding the birds and laughing about the past. But life had other plans. Barbara got sick, and in what felt like the blink of an eye, she was gone. And let me tell you, when you lose a friend like that, the silence is deafening. That's why I always tell people, friendships are beautiful, but they are not guaranteed. And if you don't learn how to be content in your own company, you'll feel the loneliness creep in when those friendships fade. So treasure your friends, yes. Make time for them, nurture those relationships. But also, be realistic. Understand that no one, not even the best of friends, can be with you every second of every day. And that's why it's so important to cultivate the most important friendship of all, the one you have with yourself. Because when the gatherings end, when the phone stops ringing, when the visitors go home, you're left with you. And the question is, do you enjoy your own company? Do you know how to sit in silence without feeling empty? Can you find joy in simple moments, even when no one else is around? Because at the end of the day, friends will come and go. But you are the only person who will always be with yourself. And that's a relationship worth nurturing. Part 5. Learning to be your own best companion. So now we've talked about the people who won't always be there. Your spouse, your children, even your closest friends. It's not their fault, and it's not something to be angry about. It's simply the way life works. But now, let me ask you something. If you are the one person who will be with yourself until the very end, how well do you actually know yourself? I don't mean your name, your age, or where you were born. I mean you. The thoughts you keep to yourself, the emotions you push down, the dreams you gave up on because life got in the way. Have you ever truly spent time with just you? Not as a mother, not as a wife, not as a friend, but simply as the person you were before the world placed all those roles on you? Because here's the thing. If you've spent your entire life prioritizing everyone else, it's easy to wake up one day and realize you've neglected yourself. And if that's happened to you, don't worry. You're not alone. So many of us get to a certain age and think, who am I when I'm not taking care of others? But it's never too late to become your own best companion. Start small. Spend time alone, but make it intentional. Take yourself out to lunch and really savor the meal instead of rushing through it. Go for a walk and actually notice the world around you, the way the leaves move in the wind, the warmth of the sun on your skin. Read a book you've always wanted to read, not because anyone recommended it, but because you are curious about it. And most importantly, talk to yourself with kindness. You wouldn't speak harshly to a dear friend, would you? Then why do so many of us criticize ourselves so easily? Pay attention to that little voice in your head. Is it kind? Is it encouraging? Or does it fill you with doubt and regret? Because whether you realize it or not, you are in a lifelong conversation with yourself. And if you want to truly enjoy your own company, you need to make sure that conversation is a loving one. So be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Get to know yourself. Because at the end of the day, the only person who will be there every morning and every night through every moment of joy and sorrow is you. And that relationship is worth everything. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this, it's this: you are enough. You don't need to wait for someone to make your life meaningful. You have everything within you to make your last decades the most fulfilling ones yet. Stop living for others at the cost of yourself. Love your family, cherish your friends, but never forget the one person who will walk with you until the very end. You. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you're doing for yourself right now that brings you happiness? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't yet, sign up for the Savvy Senior newsletter, where I share more wisdom on aging with confidence. If this message spoke to you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, take care of yourself because you are your greatest companion.